I'm NESN.com's Ricky Doyle here on Radio Row, joined now by former Major Leaguer Jim Leyritz. Jim, first of all, thanks for taking the time to catch up with us down here.
Thanks for having me. I'm kind of enjoying Radio Row. A little different from what we do in MLB.
Well, I was going to say, you're no stranger to the big stage, having played in a few World Series, got a couple rings yourself. How does that compare to the spectacle of Super Bowl week? Obviously, it's leading up to one big game as opposed to a series, but, I mean, what do you make of this whole thing?
Well, I always say the Super Bowl is Game 7. It's do or die. It means there's no tomorrow.
Right.
And so you're either going to be the hero or the GOAT, and that's a lot of pressure. And I think again, being able to see this is completely different from when I used to do TV and radio for the World Series, because there was a game every night.
Right.
Here, there's a lot more time that we can fill a lot of airtime with a lot of people and get a lot of different opinions.
Now, you mentioned you could be the hero or the GOAT. Got a few big moments, clutch moments in October. So looking back, I mean, what was one that I guess stands above the rest for you?
Well,
is there one particular one?
Everybody looks at the '96 because it started the dynasty. It got that going. But I always look at the 1995 playoff against Seattle. I caught 15 innings, and I hit a walk-off home run.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, walk-off home run in Yankee Stadium. Just we went up 2-0 in the series. It was Don Mattingly's last hurrah. We thought for sure that was going to be like the biggest moment ever.
Right.
You can't really change that. But again, like I said, the 96 home run, to be able to go on and win that World Series, they lose like they did in 97. And I always tell people, if they lose in 96 like we were losing, they lose in 97. Joe Torre doesn't have a job anymore. He's gone. Everybody else is gone. And that dynasty may never happen. So I think that 96 team was important for that.
It's a similar theory to, maybe if Tom Brady doesn't win that Tuck Rule game, then maybe, we don't have the Tom Brady that we have today.
Exactly.
I think Tim Brown was the one that said that this week on Radio Row.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before we came on, you saw the NESN Mike flag. You said takes me back to my Red Sox days.
Yes.
What do you remember from your Red Sox days,
Well,
your time in Boston?
It was an unfortunate situation that Joe Kerrigan and I couldn't get along together, because I was really excited about, after being with Texas and Anaheim, and the fans not really being as passionate as they are on the East Coast, to be back in Boston. And to me, growing up, I never really knew much about the Yankees. I remember Carlton Fisk home run against my Cincinnati Reds.
Yep.
Okay, and that to me was always the thing. And my first time playing in Fenway was actually more exciting because I remembered that as a kid. Watching those World Series with the Reds and the Red Sox.
Now, you spent the majority of your career on the other side of that rivalry, the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. So, looking back on that whole thing, how was that dynamic?
It was, back in those days, we didn't like each other.
Yeah,
I
it was abundantly clear.
Yeah, they said, well, is it different nowadays? I said, yeah, these guys go out to dinner together. I go, back in the day, if we were in Boston on the road, and we went to Daisy Buchanan's, which was everywhere. All the players hung out. If there was a Red Sox that walked in there, we were probably going to get in a fight because we didn't like each other, and it was a whole different type of situation. But I think now it's a little different. I mean, Johnny Damon switches teams the next year.
Right.
And even though, like I said, I played for both teams, I at least had a year in between before I went back to the Red Sox. So it was a little different.
Yeah, I mean, you played for a few teams throughout your career. When you look back, do you like that you had that experience of playing several organizations as opposed to, maybe we stay with one?
Well, I think,
benefits at least.
Once I won in '96 and I hit the home run and I had a big moment, and, to me that was like, okay, I've made it here in New York. Now I wanted a chance to play every day. And I was getting those opportunities at those other places. So that's really what changed for me more than anything, was just wanting to be able to play every day. But just the experiences of the '96 World Series, being on the Padres in '98 and losing to the Yankees.
Yeah, it was an interesting twist. Probably didn't see that one coming.
No, I did not see that one coming. And, it was interesting because people always say, what's the difference between San Diego and New York or even Boston as far as the fans go? I go, well, here's what I'll tell you. In San Diego, we lost the World Series. We still had a parade. We still had a parade. So.
Participation trophy. That's always nice.
It's one of those things. If you're in Boston or if you're in New York and you lose the World Series and they want to do, you're getting stuff thrown at you. You're not being cheered on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I have to ask you about too is you had a pretty unique batting stance.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
2 days before.
Is that one thing you just kind of trial and error a little bit,
We know what it was. I grew up with Pete Rose, so I used to lean back a lot when I hit. But 2 days before the draft out of high school, I broke my leg playing tennis. And the irony of it is the team that was actually calling my dad as I was playing tennis before I broke my leg to draft me was the Atlanta Braves. And I broke the leg, just fractured it. They put a cast on it, and they said, if you're better in 6 weeks, maybe we'll take you. So I took batting practice for 6 weeks with that cast on my left foot, and that's how that stiff leg started. It was just because I got comfortable doing it.
So
I would never teach that, trust me. Not to anybody.
It's not mechanically sound, I guess, but hey, it gets the job done. And you mentioned leading up to the draft, and then you went undrafted, and then you went on to have a successful career. The guy who's kind of following a similar route right now that we're talking about this week is Tom Brady, 6th round pick, and all of a sudden we know what he's done. So looking at this game, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen on Sunday?
Well, he's up there right now already as one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game. If he wins this one, he's kind of put himself in that next category. And after what he went through this year with the Deflategate and all that stuff that happened, that none of us think that he should have went through all that, but he did. And he handled it perfectly professionally. Just like I kind of reminded me of Jeter, the way Jeter handled all that stuff, was the way he handled it so professionally and just said, okay, you know what, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be even better. And look, he put up an MVP season after just 14, what was it, 12 games? He only played 12 games.
Yeah,
right?
only played 12 games and still
so,
great interception, touchdown interception ratio, crazy.
He had an MVP season. So now, if he wins this, yes, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of tugged because I'm kind of rooting for.
I was going to say, you got to give me a pick here, though.
Well, I'm rooting for Atlanta to win from my heart.
Okay.
But my mind says there's no way. If Bill Belichick has 2 weeks for this, and this young defense shut down Aaron Rodgers completely last week. So when that happens, you're going, oh, they could do that to Brady too. Yeah. But if Bill Belichick has 2 weeks to develop a game plan against a young rookie team, these guys are all 1, 2, 3 year players, I think Bill Belichick's going to have the advantage. And so I think in my mind, I think the New England Patriots win.
Should be an entertaining game at least.
But here's the other thing I'll tell you real quick. Now as a fan, I see a whole different perspective why no one liked the Yankees when we were on our dynasty run, because I'm actually rooting for Atlanta to win because I'm going, can somebody besides New England win? But again, I go back to being the professionals, the Yankees. We won every year because we were the best prepared, we had the best coach, and we had a leader like Derek Jeter who led us to all these championships.
Do you feed off that when if you're in the locker room and you have the sense that it's you against the world? Is that something that you just kind of embrace and use it as fuel a little bit?
Especially when you get to this point. When you get to this Super Bowl or even the World Series, when you get to that point, it makes you even better and makes you want to do it even more, because these guys will tell you they may have won 4 or 5 Super Bowls, but every one means the same or even more, because you don't ever want to lose the Super Bowl.
Okay, so I'll put you on the spot. What's the greater sports dynasty, the Yankees or the Patriots?
I'm going to have to go with Yankees just because of all of the history.
You're biased. You're biased.
A little bit biased. But no, I think, again, this is something that the Patriots have done. This is a dynasty of now. If you go years past, the Yankees have had quite a few dynasties over the years as far as the eras go. Right. I think, obviously, yes, this is, if they win this one, or even if they don't win this one, the fact that they're there again, they have created a dynasty already.
All right. Yeah, we won't become victims of the moment.
That's it. Exactly. Hopefully there's no Bill Buck that shows up at the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy. Let's say that. We talked a little bit about that. You probably have some big plans down here in Houston. What do you go up to for the rest of the week here?
Yeah, well, the reason I'm down here is I work for Warren Moon's company called Sports One Marketing. Okay. And David Meltzer, who's Warren's partner, we have a radio show called The Sports Blender that's on SB Nation. That's on every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. It's kind of a sports business blend. David, a former agent, marketing guy, me, the former player. We kind of give a business perspective. He gives the business side, I give the athlete side,
right.
And we just talk about the topics. It could be politics, could be anything that's going on in sports that we talk about, and we kind of share our opinions, and it just makes for kind of a different kind of show.
Yeah, nothing's off limits.
That's exactly it. That's why they call it the blender. We put it in and we mix it up.
Perfect. Jim Leyritz, thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.